going to come out and real and say it. I don't understand it. This was one of the weirdest trades that I could recall, Josh, in the NFL in a long time. So the Steelers, they went out, they traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, who a long time ago the Dolphins traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe it was for a first round pick as well that year. And now Minkah is going back to Miami, and in return, the Steelers are paying Jalen Ramsey a corner $25 million a year, and then they get Jonnu Smith back, and Miami, meanwhile, brings Darren Waller out of retirement to replace Jonnu Smith. Like, I don't understand. It's basically a player-for-player swap. You're band-aiding things. I get it. Jalen Ramsey's a very good player. I don't think he's as good as what he was in Jacksonville or with the Rams. I actually think he didn't have that many good years, any of his years in Miami. I think he is a little bit of a diva. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is more of a locker room leader than Jalen Ramsey. And it does feel like, and I hate to make this comparison for poor Steelers fans, but they're going down the fucking Jets route from last year.
And when Jalen Ramsey was with the Rams, who did he have issues with? Remind me of that.
I don't remember him having issues with Rodgers. Can you refresh?
No, it wasn't with Rodgers.
Okay.
It wasn't with Rodgers. Who was the big wide receiver the Steelers traded for?
DK Metcalf.
Yes. Him and Jalen.
I don't remember that at all.
They did, because Jalen was with the Rams. DK was with the Seahawks.
Yeah. The only thing I remember Jalen Ramsey doing anything relevant outside of winning the Super Bowl with the Rams is when he wore those Arthur meme cleats his rookie year in Jacksonville against the Browns. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Him and DK have gotten into scuffles from what I remember.
I don't remember a ton of that. I'm not, you know me, I'm not big into the wide receiver corner, defensive back scuffles. Now, again, they do have Darius Slay, who was good in Philly last year. He's in his last year. It does seem like they're going for it, but I would have liked this move more for Pittsburgh if they would have kept Minkah Fitzpatrick. Replacing Minkah with Jalen Ramsey, to me, doesn't solve a problem. And not only that, but they are still leading the league. I talked about this maybe a couple months ago when we talked about NFL free agency back in March. The Steelers are leading the league in defensive spending. They have a defensive head coach. They lead the league in defensive spending. And for 5 years, they have not gotten the quarterback right or the offensive line right. You know who are the two teams in the NFL that lead the league most in offensive spending? Gee, I don't know. The two teams that just made and played in the Super Bowl this year, and the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. And didn't the Steelers just give their general manager an extension?
I believe so. And, you know, Mike Tomlin's still there, whatever. They might go 9-8. Like, who cares? The Steelers, I know you fans don't want to hear it, and you cannot call me a Cleveland homer because Josh knows this. I kind of root for the Browns, but I make fun of the Browns all the time. I think they're an absolute disaster of an organization.
Good God, yes.
The Pittsburgh Steelers they are the Dallas Cowboys right now. They are a losing big brand. They're basically the Lakers, they're the Cowboys, and there's the Steelers. 3 big brands that all think, oh, they're so good. Look at us. They're irrelevant.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And yet they own the Browns, but that's not surprising. Honestly, to go back to the conversation, when the Browns made their return in 1999, they hosted the Steelers in their first game. It would not surprise me if when the Browns opened their new stadium in Brook Park, if it's the Steelers they're playing in that inaugural game.
Very well could be. What are your thoughts on this from Miami's side? Because, I mean, they got a safety. They still don't have a corner. I talked about it. I know Grandizer very much vehemently disagreed with me about their draft. I thought they had one of the worst drafts of anybody in the NFL. It feels like to me, Tua and Mike McDaniel are on the clock, and they don't have a plan either.
Yeah, I don't get what the Dolphins are doing, but because outside of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, who else are you throwing it to?
And by the way, is Tyreek still getting traded? Like, wasn't that the rumor out there? And then it stopped, and then it picked up again? Like, what the hell are they doing? And they still have not invested in a backup quarterback or an offensive line. And they have, and I'm not trying to be funny or joking here, they have the most injury-prone quarterback in the NFL.
They really do. I don't get what the Dolphins are doing. I really don't. And yet they'll still find a way to beat the Patriots in New England, or in Miami, excuse me, because they always do. But to take this back to the Steelers side for a minute, okay, you got rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was one of the few guys who actually made plays defensively. But guess what? You still don't have a wide receiver too. Did you solve your corner issue? Maybe. But now you have a free safety issue.
And by the way, they also have Joey Porter Jr. Like, they didn't really need Ramsey. I could have made the case. Now, Philly last year had 3 great corners. DeJean, Mitchell, and Slay. Pittsburgh maybe making a case that, we're going to try to duplicate that. But don't you think as a defensive coach, you could take a young guy and say, you know what, I'll coach him. Let's go spend money on the offensive line. They still got to pay T.J. Watt. And again, they still lead the league in defensive spending, and T.J. Watt wants as much as Myles Garrett.
With good reason, might I add.
Like, okay, and by the way, T.J. Watt's over 30. He's 31 years old. Like, what are you doing? Are the Steelers, seriously, in 2 years, the Steelers could turn into the Carolina Panthers. I'm dead serious. They are betting on 1 year of Aaron Rodgers. Their old team is a freaking retirement home. I mean, this is like the Jets all over again.
It really is. It's kind of hilarious. But going back to the Dolphins, I know we're kind of ping-ponging back and forth between the two teams, but I really don't get what the Dolphins are doing. Like, okay, let's get rid of Jalen and, bring in Minkah. That's great. But just like I said about the Steelers, what are you going to do at cornerback now, Miami? Like, if I'm Buffalo, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to expose that weakness. If I'm New England, I'm like, okay, guess what? I'm exposing that weakness. I can't say that for the Jets because I'm not convinced on Justin Fields. But if I'm the Patriots with, what's his name? Drake May, and I'm the Bills with Josh Allen, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to continue attacking that. Thank you very much.
Here's the wildest part about this whole deal. You know what I think is actually the best piece out of everything for everybody? Jonnu Smith. The reason why is because we know Arthur Smith, the famous Arthur Smith, who could not figure out how to use Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, or Drake London in Atlanta. What does he love to do? Use 2 tight ends. And Jonnu Smith was with him with Atlanta, and he swore by him. So
wait a minute. But Pittsburgh already has 2 tight ends. Remember?
Well, they have flyer moves. Who else did they bring in?
Third-round pick, Darnell Washington.
Yeah, but he's more of a blocking tight end. Jonnu is more of a receiving tight end. So Darnell can be like he's like 6'9". He can basically be a 6 offensive lineman. So what I think, to your point, they don't really have a number 2 wide receiver. Maybe it's Quez Watkins somewhere in there. I think they're going to use Jaylen Warren. They're going to use that running back, who I can't remember his name, that they took out of UCF, the small little guy in the 4th round. They're going to use those 2 tight ends, and they're going to play basically 22 personnel, and they're going to try to bully you, which is Arthur Smith's background when he was with Tennessee and Atlanta.
I'll be curious to see if how Quinn Ewers does. I believe it wasn't
Will Howard.
Yes, Quinn Ewers was drafted by the Dolphins.
Yes, he was. Which, by the way, he's their backup quarterback, apparently.
Yes. I meant Will Howard, excuse me. But do I expect Will Howard to get time during the season? No. But I'm going to be very curious to see how he does in preseason action.
That's a good point, because Aaron typically doesn't play preseason games, and we know Mike Tomlin's the old school guy that plays preseason starters. Is Aaron going to play in the preseason?
I would laugh my ass off